糕点传师、甜点传师、菜点传师各位学长大家好，暗暝。咱今仔暗时咱咧酸酸主义，要甲咱慈悲四道，多伫书传修在家己。志工老师所传互咱，要修也是着看咱怎啊，就是着看咱家己，也是要怎啊修，着看咱家己。Master Joe, Master Ken, and Master Chai, and all. As her compassionate that great transmitted to us by our holy teacher while cultivate and our determination. 咱即阵个来甲传传助理甲咱设备四道。Now let us invite our Sansan Zuli for her compassionate guidance.
感谢天恩师德祖师皇慈，感谢师尊师庙的大德，感谢老前人各位点传师的栽培和学学今仔暗又阁有这个机会来学习，而且阁较感谢各位今仔暗伫 Zoom， 甲咱做一个咧听咱今仔暗开办的学学，又阁有一个机会，甲大家分享，甲大家做一个学习。今仔暗咱的题目是伫咱总书导演Bacolod总书导演，咱11月初6开发会时其中的一个专题，所以即阵有学甲大家分享咱发会时的专题。咱的题目是Thank you to heaven's grace and to teachers' virtue. Thank you to our 师尊 and 师母. Thank you to our 老前人 and to all our 点传师 for their nurture and guidance. And also thank you to everybody tonight who are here attending our Zoom meeting tonight for giving me another chance to learn and to study about Tao. Tonight, our topic was one of the topics that we Bacolod Divine Institute of Chongsu had when we had our holy seminar. So tonight, let me share with everybody our topic during our Fahui last November 6. So, 咱的题目是道在师传，修在自己。老师甲咱讲说，咱得着道，一定就有是老师传给咱的。毋过得着道了，咱要修道，也毋修道，迄个就是伫咱家己咯。咱要落力，还是无要？迄个伫咱家己咯，老师将道传给咱伊嘛无法通推咱修道，所以咱要修，咱就着家己学，家己去想办法，家己去拍拼，咱才有法通得到真好的效果。志工老师甲咱讲说，我讲英文啫。Our topic for tonight is, our title is The Great Tao is Transmitted to Us by the Holy Teacher, while our cultivation will depend on our determination. Since we are very lucky to have received Tao, and Tao was transmitted to us by our Holy Teacher, or by our Qigong Lao Shi, we have to continue and our cultivation, and cultivation will only depend on ourselves. No one can cultivate for us, not even our Qigong Lao Shi can cultivate on our behalf, because everybody has to cultivate for their own self. 老师甲咱讲说，咱每一个人的身躯，咱每一个人都有一粒细粒的小莲子。老师讲，咱今仔有法通修着道，非常的无简单，因为咱修着道的一个机会，咱有法通得着道的一个机会是6万年才有一摆。咱即阵真福气去得道，不过咱若将这个机会给放弃，无好好去修道，咱就搁等偌久啊？咱就搁等另外一个6万年，才有法通来得，才有法通搁来得着道。所以咱即阵就好好的把握这个机会，因为咱敢若说咱也福气啊，因为往摆 只若有天资，才有法人得到道，就是皇帝，还是真重要的人物，才有法人得到道。落尾就会读啊也侪册的，也牛的，像孔子、孟子，侪人才有法人得到道。咱普通的百姓根本就无法人很简单得到道。不过即阵，咱检是大家也福气，咱大家有法人得到道。所以这个机会，咱就好好的来珍惜。咱唔通说也简单，我去当伊几礼，我就得到道咯。迄个唔是也艰苦得到的。我的朋友叫我去就去得到道咯。所以咱唔通安尼想，唔通想说，因为咱即阵得到道也简单得来，就也简单给放弃。迄个咱就会失去一个真好的，互咱受道，互咱的机会。咱就记得说。咱每一个人自从咱求道的迄刻，就是咱求道的迄阵，咱每一个人都有一粒水莲子伫咱的心中。So, Qigong Lao Sư told us that it is not easy to have this opportunity to cultivate the Tao today because our chance to receive Tao happens only once every 60,000 years. So today, if we do not take this opportunity and cultivate properly, we will have to wait another 60,000 years and we will have to suffer from the sea of suffering of the cycle of birth and death and wait for 60,000 years for us to have this opportunity to receive Tao again. So in the past, Tao can only be passed down to emperors and kings. And now, even common people can seek the Tao. So before, only the kings, the emperors, and some very important people are given the chance to receive Tao. And later, the scholars are also given the chance to receive Tao. But during those times, common people can never seek Tao because Tao is transmitted only to the chosen few. But now we can see that we are very, very lucky that we are born in a time when Tao can be received by even common people like us. So the significance and the preciousness of the Tao must be cherished. We must know that it is not that easy for us to have received Tao because and we must not treat it as something that is easy to obtain and that we let it go easily. Because we might think that we just have to go to the temple, kneel down, and then we receive Tao. That is not the case. Tao is not for everybody. We are still the chosen few. So we have to take advantage and cultivate as we still have this chance. Remember that from the moment we seek the Tao, there is a small lotus seed growing within each of us. So咱若是一个真正咧修道的人，这粒细细粒的莲子，伊就会豆发芽，到落尾伊会开花。不过咱若无真正咧修呢，就算伊有开花，伊嘛会豆。迄粒莲子头伊也搁也细粒，咱若无真正去修，伊永远就是反细粒，伊袂大，伊也袂发芽。所以咱若要修道，咱就着真正的、真诚心的去修，好好的修心用性。咱咧做代志着拄好，咱的行为若无好，咱的心就袂光明。连咱的莲花，就算说已经发达较也好势咯。咱若开始无好好的，佫一直继续修落去，这类莲花因自然咧就会老去，就会死去。For those who cultivate very sincerely, this little lotus seed will gradually sprout and bloom. But if we do not cultivate properly, the little lotus seed will always stay just that small. Therefore, if we want to cultivate the Tao, we must cultivate truthfully and sincerely. And we should also cultivate both our spirit and our mind. If our behavior is not right and our mind is not bright, the lotus flower will naturally wither. So it is a waste of our opportunity if we do not go on with our cultivation and if we do not go on doing it properly and sincerely. So 以阵咱来讲，求道的属性，求道的属性，小学读到一篇文章，伊甲咱说，有求道的人，就是一个无相同的一个咧欢喜的喜志，因为咱每一个人出世来这个世间，就是咧搬一出喜。咱逐摆讲人生如戏，咱咧生活，每一日咧生活，就是看咱咧搬一出戏。而且咱每一个人都是咱的戏内面，咱这场戏内面的主角。按咱出世开始，迄个剧本就已经是老母娘，还是咱的老师为咱准备啊好好的咯。咱有法人换无？无，咱王牌接尾跌甲业，就是会互咱看咱一世人要搬什么戏，要做什么的人。咱若是应该是做一个富贵的人，咱一世人来出世，咱就会搬一个富贵的人，搬做一个富贵的人。咱应该是出世做一个贫贱的人，咱就会搬一个贫贱的人的剧本。咱若是应该来出世做一个当上喜手的，咱按咱的戏内面，咱就搬一个当喜手的角色。咱若是咱若是来要做一个第名的人，咱注定着第名的，咱来到咱的一个一世，咱就是着搬做一个第名的人的角色。There is a saying, life is like a play. It is like a movie. We are all actors and actresses in our play. And we are all protagonists, meaning we are all the main characters in our script. We are the bida in our script. From birth, the script has been prepared for us. No one can change the plot. And the plot is more or less the same. And those who should be rich and noble should play the role of the rich and the noble. And those who should be poor and humble should play the role of a poor and humble person. For those who should be long-lived, they should play the role of a person who has long life. And for those who should be short-lived, then they should play the role of a person who dies early in his life, and so on. 所以，唔管咱虽然说咱来出世就是带咱全世人，咱这6万年来所做所集的拢讲会跌甲业才来出世。所以咱一世人要做什么，唔是咱有法人决定的。唔过，咱捌听说咱的人生有4个导演，这4个导演就是有法人有迄个能力，人来改变咱的剧本。头一个叫做作恶，就是做歹。伊有法人将咱的故事，互咱愈搬愈歹，互咱愈来愈糟糕。第二个叫做作善，就是做好。这个作善又有法人将咱的剧本过啊愈来愈好，互咱愈活愈欢喜愈好命。第三个叫做求道。咱要求道，虽然导演叫咱搬做一个求道人，咱嘛就需要有捌着善知识，就是捌着知影道的好处的人，有法人甲咱讲关于道的，而且有法人甲咱去道院，互咱得着道的人，咱才有法人求着道。第四个，最重要的就是修道。咱若是导演叫咱搬一个修道人。只要咱老实实的，跟一个导演一直搬落去，到咱会倒死了的时阵，咱就会伫白羊的舞台顶发光发亮，搬出一个平凡中的无平凡的人生。So, however, it is said that there are 4 directors in our life, and they are the ones who has the ability to change the script for us. The first is called doing evil or doing bad deeds. He will be the one who can change the script to make our life become the worst. If we are born to be having bad life, and then we follow the director who tells us to do bad, then we will have a bad life and we will act in it and become even worse and worse. So number 2 is doing good or do good deeds. This time, this director can improve the script and make our life a better one. The third one is called seeking the Tao. When we are told to seek the Tao by this director, we still need to be introduced by a good teacher. So we need somebody who can tell us the goodness of Tao, the preciousness of Tao, the meaning of Tao, and then we should also need that person to bring us to the temple in order for us to receive Tao. So the fourth one is called Tao cultivation. As long as we are willing to follow honestly and sincerely this director called Tao cultivation, it can completely change the script. And the play will be arranged on the Paiyang stage to shine brightly and perform an extraordinary life out of the ordinary. So, lan na walang kyuto to, lan pe to, yan itipwalo ki. Lan ka na se, lan bosatang, lan si bosatang ay hiti inui. Potong lang, in ne pwa si tiong hi, ikumpun mzaya, hi pwa diao, in pian zui shami. Mgu lan kyuto lang, lan shuto lang, lan jo zaya se, lan si lang kia diao, lan me kitalo, lan uti si diao lo, et zui kia. So lan jo sikap in bosatang. Lan jin hok ki, lan patyo kyuto, kap shuto. 按阵开始，咱就无个甜甜蜜蜜的一直搬落去。所以亲像学校有一个朋友，因为目镜，伊个大声也重，一日到伊个目镜歹去咯。伊妈妈问说：啊，你今仔暗要怎啊食啊？伊说我就是甜甜蜜蜜食，就是唔知影要食什么凊彩，就是摕起来食。咱若无收到，咱嘛是会甜甜蜜蜜的演咱一出戏。咱开始明白咱的剧本。 剧情内面的演变，咱开始明白这个导演的苦心、的用心。亲像说，伊若叫咱着演做一个得新冠状肺炎的人，咱就着去演做一个新冠状肺炎的病人。伊若叫咱演做一个着隔离的，咱就着演做一个着隔离的人。 咱就真用心、真诚心的跟伊去做，咱才有法人看透咱人生说，原来咱的一世人就是靠咱一场戏，戏内面，咱若明白后，戏内面发生的什么代志，咱都袂去惊着，咱也袂去惊倒退，因为咱知影说，龙江发生的物件都是唔是真实的，龙江都是假的。 所以咱有法人知影说，咱人生的戏内面就是咱的四大结合，因为咱的身躯是水、火、风、土合成的，所以咱也知影说，在龙江到尾会变无去，咱就袂很注重咱的身躯、咱的物件，还是咱爱咱的周围的物件，咱知影说，龙江在到尾会无去的。 咱求到了，咱说咱原在是一个咧搬戏的人，因为咱一场戏，咱嘛是着可一直搬落去。无啥当啊，就是说咱已经知影说咱咧搬什么咯，咱无甲普通人无啥当咯。咱这场戏搬了，咱这场人生的戏，若搬了，咱知影说咱下一站咱要去倒落，所以咱就说咱是无啥当的一个咧搬戏的人。 Fortunately, we got to know Seeking Tao, the director that is called Seeking the Tao and Cultivating the Way of Tao. So from this moment on, when we meet them, from now on, we no longer just act blindly in our play. we begin to understand the evolution of the script and the plot. We begin to understand the director's good intentions for us. For example, if we are assigned to play the role of a COVID-19 positive patient, then we should act out the role properly and patiently. If we are instructed to play the role of a patient who needs isolation, then we should play the role also diligently. So follow what he tells us to do, and we can see through the thought that life is just like the play. We will no longer be surprised and shocked by the humiliations and the difficulties that happens in the play. And because we know now that everything is just an illusion. And if we see through life as a play and understands that the four elements are all false, and that it may be easier for us to see and understand what is our life and what we are playing clearly. So after seeking the Tao, we are still actors. It doesn't mean that when we seek the Tao, when we have already received Tao, we are no longer actors. We still are actors in our life, because the movie will still go on. But this time, the difference is we know that we are just acting. And the difference is that we know where to go after the drama of our life ends. So that is why we say that seeking Tao is very precious, and cultivating Tao is just as precious. So,所以咱讲，咱人生有四个导演：最恶、最好、救度、及受度。These are the four directors in our life: doing evil, doing good, seeking the Tao, and the last is the Tao cultivation. 老师甲咱讲说，咱一个人，咱若做一个工，咱若咧做工，人就会叫咱说，叫做咱是一个工人。咱若是咧做生意，人会叫咱什么啊？人会叫咱做咱是一个生意人。咱若是咧行医，咧甲人医病，咱就是一个医生。咱若是咧做清洁的工作，咱就是一个清洁工。所以老师说，咱若一世人，咱一直咧做佛祖的代志，一直咧替佛祖做代志，也咧做佛祖的代志。咱就是叫做什么啊？所以一阵咱若咧做佛祖的代志，咱就是佛祖。So, Chi Kong Lao Sư told us that when we work, we are called workers. When we do business, we are called what? We are called businessmen. When we treat people's illness, we are called doctors. And when we are doing the cleaning jobs, we are called cleaners. So the question is, what are we called when we are doing Buddha deeds? When we are doing things for Buddha and we are following the work of Buddha, are we not to be called as Buddha also? Yes. So Buddha Chi Kung tells us that in this life, try to do good, to do Buddha deeds, and we are the living Buddha in our life. So 一阵要合要甲大家分享一个故事，一个是两个和尚的故事。So now let us share a story about the two monks. So there were two monks who lived on two different hills, one on the left and the other on the right. So they both lived on the hill because there were temples on each hill. So these two monks, they live there, they do their chores there, and they study and do their works every day in the temple. So because there was no water in the temple, they have to go down the hill to get water from the creek. So it's in the hesio ihum pet cat in the swating to get catty tia point to get catty top point, think to get think no swating think to your sea. So it's in the hesio catty 表示内面每一日因就是做伊的代志，做因的功课，了每一日两个和尚都会伫送一个点钟落去山下伫溪边去摕水，因为顶骹无水，所以因逐日都着落来摕水。毋过忽然间有一日，一个伫倒边的和尚煞无落来摕水，一个伫遮边的和尚就也烦恼，伊说，毋过伊说咸菜今仔日伊困毋知醒无落来，所以明仔日我咸菜就会甲伊见面咯。So these two monks, because there was no water in their temple uphill, they have to go down and get water from the creek every day. So one day, the monk from the right side of the hill, from the right hill, was down the hill and was about to get water, but he noticed that his friend is still not there to get his water. So he just thought that maybe he just overslept and maybe he has some thing important to do that he is not able to come down to fetch water. But for the next few days, the second day, the third day, up to 1 month, he did not see his friend coming down to get water. So, 头一日伊无落来，一个和尚就说咸菜伊今仔困毋知醒无落来。第二日、第三日伊原在无落来，到我1个月后，伊感觉也奇怪咯，伊也是也关心伊的朋友咯。伊说敢若咱1个月都无来摕水，伊说伊敢毋免啉水吧，所以一定是有发生什么代志，伊才无落来。So he was so surprised that why he's so worried why his friend did not come down the hill to fetch water. So he was thinking it is impossible for him not to fetch water because he needs water in order to live, and it is impossible for him to not use water for 1 whole month. So he decided to go up the temple to visit his friend. 所以伊就决定说，我就来去山顶去找一个我的和尚朋友来看卖到底伊是发生什么代志。伊到我顶骹山顶，到我伊一个朋友的庙前，伊去惊着，因为看起伊的朋友好好势势，因为感觉伊想说伊去的看起的朋友咧毋好，还是有啥物问题。毋过伊看去看伊一个朋友也欢喜，面色也好，而且佫伫伊的庙寺前面咧练伊的太极拳。So when he went up the hill and tried to visit his friend, he was so surprised to see his friend stand in front of the temple where he lives, and he was even practicing his Tai Chi. Nothing bad has happened to him, so he was wondering, and he asked his friend. 所以也奇怪，所以问伊的朋友说：为什么你那1个月佢无落来摕水咯啊？你敢唔免啉水吧？ So he asked his friend, why is it that it took you 1 month and you did not come down? I was waiting for you for a month. But is it possible that you do not need water to live? 所以这个朋友就甲伊去看一项物件。伊说：你看卖，我已经有一个钱咯。伊说：咱5年来，咱逐日落去咧摕水。毋过我每一日功课做了，我就摕小可的点钟来掘一口钱。我一日一直掘到5年，忽然间1个月前，我看起水出来咯。So his friend told him that for all those 5 years that we go down the hill to fetch water together, every day after my work, after everything is done, I will spend a little time to dig a well. So for 5 years, I did not see any result. But last month, I started to see water springing out and coming out of the hole. So now, you see, I already have a well and I do not need to go down to fetch water anymore. And the time that I can save, I can now practice my favorite Tai Chi. 所以咱说，这个故事甲咱修道有什么 关联有啥物为什么咱会讲这个故事？咱修道是毋是甲这个和尚咧掘一口井相同？因为咱也上会说，我要等我生理做好势咧，我较侪钱咧，我才开始来修道。啊是说，咱会讲，我会等我的囡仔较大汉咧，我才开始修道。永远咱都有一个理由，人无要去继续修道，无还是无要开始修道。所以咱就永远有一个借口，咱要等啊第时才要开始修道啊。亲像一个和尚，伫倒边一个和尚，伊知影说，伊着每一日做淡薄，到尾伊才有人得到好的效果。不过，一个伫遮边的和尚，伊就无安尼想，所以5年后，倒边的迄个和尚已经有法人享受水咯。遮边迄个和尚，伊还阁是着逐日落去摕水。亲像咱修道，咱若有法人逐日捡淡薄点钟，用淡薄点钟来修道，来学习，到我一日呾，咱嘛是会得到真好的结果。So, the monk on the left was really wondering why he did not come down. So he was told that I was spending my time every day for the last 5 years to dig this well. So now you see, I already do not need to go down the hill to fetch water, and I can now enjoy water on my here on top of the hill. So we may say that why is it that we are telling this story? How is it connected to our lecture tonight? So the story tells us something that is very similar to our manners of cultivation, because most of us, we will say that I am very busy. I do not have time to cultivate. I do not have time to go to the temple. So I will wait when I am rich, when I have earned enough money, when my children are already mature enough. And that is the time that will start my cultivation. So we always give ourselves a lot of alibis and reasons for us not to start with our cultivation. But just like the well that the monk on the left side of the hill, on the left hill has done, he did it every day, just a little every day. And in the end, after 5 years, he is already enjoying his life because he already has a well where he can get water. He doesn't need to spend a lot of time and effort every day just to get water. But the monk on the right side is different. His thinking was different. So he just get water from the creek, and he did not think of starting doing a well. So until the time when he is old enough that he can no longer go down to get water, what will happen to him? He will not have any water to use. So in our cultivation, we have to do it like the monk on the left hill, that cultivation should be done a little every day. We should not wait for a certain time for us to start cultivation. We should not also make alibis for ourselves not to start and not to go on with our cultivation, because cultivation done every day, they will be collected, and later on we can really appreciate its fruits. So by the time that we need it, we have gathered enough merits or enough credit, enough merits. When we meet calamities or difficulties, then we can use them. And our saints and Buddhas can also use them to help us. So, 咱即阵来说，即阵一个问题就是说，咱为什么要学道？为什么要修道？ Why do we need to learn and cultivate Tao? 古早人甲咱讲说，咱若开始学了，咱才会知影说，咱也阁欠也侪项未学着。咱若开始学了，咱才会知影说，原来我也侪项也阁未晓。原来世间顶也阁侪物件有法人互咱阁学，互咱阁较变做阁较巧、阁较光明的一个人。So ancient people tells us that when we learn, we will then realize our insufficiencies. when we learn, we can then realize that there are so much in this world that we need to learn and to study. But if we do not start learning, we will never know our insufficiencies. We may also think that we are already a complete person. We have already learned a lot. Maybe we may say that I am already a doctor. I do not need to study further. I am already a very successful businessman. I do not need to learn any other things because through my knowledge of doing business, I already know a lot. But when we start to learn, especially when we start to learn about Tao, we will really learn and realize that there are so much that we need to know and so much that we need to learn. So,咱就学道，咱就修道，所以咱要怎样学道？ So now the topic is how to learn Tao. 头一项咱就是要研究道义，咱就用咱想办法去加学习，咱就去读，咱就无在课本导院内面，是网顶，咱用咱的电脑，咱拢总有法通读到在册。春秋这是大学，亲像即阵咱搬出来有法通看起孟子、中庸、论语，全个是也好的册。咱若袂明白，咱有法通找到怀咧讲也白的，咱遐学习，咱会知影说，咱原来全学到的，咱也阁有阁较多需要学的，而且咱也有去一直去研究，一直去学习，咱对道、对真理才会阁较明白，阁较了解。第二项。Now, number one is we have to learn to further understand Tao. With further understanding of Tao, how can we do it? We can have books in our temple. We have a lot of books for us to read. And even just through the internet, we can search about Tao books or Tao topics, and we can learn a lot from them. So that we will have better knowledge and deeper knowledge about Tao, and deeper knowledge about the truth. 第二，咱就学习佛规礼节。佛规礼节，咱有咧讲15条礼节，15条佛规，也佫有遐侪佛规，也佫有24条佛规。了，咱欢喜若有法通逐去学，咱会明白说，咱要怎样做一个修道人？修道人是啥物会做咧做，啥物袂做咧做？按遐咱拢总会知影，而且礼节咱就是着学，会晓得念佛咱的佛的名。咱若要拜拜的时，咱逐摆说，我毋免念，因为我去就有上手下手因念，我缀因拜就会做入咯。毋过，若一日咱要去拜拜，咱这佛天说，咱家一个人，咱迄阵要怎样拜拜啊？是毋是咱就着乖乖的离开，因为咱袂晓念佛名。所以咱真重要，咱着知影要怎样念咱的献歌、献香，咱拢总着学习到会晓，咱才有法通。凊彩时咱要拜拜，咱拄着困难的时，拄着危险的时，咱要拜，咱嘛才会晓。咱迄阵咱无法通说要搁去等上替咱念怀咱献香的礼节。So it is important that we know the Buddha rules and disciplines. We are already discussing about the 15 Buddha disciplines, and also we have to learn to know the sequence of our daily incense offering and fruit offering ceremony, so that whenever we need, when we are in trouble, when we are in danger, we know what are the names that we should call. Because by that time, we can no longer have time to look for somebody to help us. 第三，参加开班，咱有开班，伫佛堂有开班，咱就得找点钟，将迄点钟该空起来，咱才有法通去佛堂开班。那无按佛堂开班，咱 Zoom 咧。咱嘛是逐礼拜有咧开班，所以这个点钟咱就该空起来，咱才有法通将咱的心静落来参加听 咱会讲诗，咱会点传诗，咧讲咱解释诶，互咱才有法人更加明白真理。So we have also to attend lectures. Whenever there are lectures, we have to take the opportunity to attend lectures. We should not give ourselves reasons not to attend, because it is very important that through these lectures we can be enlightened, we can understand further about Tao. And also, if we do not have face-to-face lectures, we can also attend, like now, we can attend Zoom meetings, Zoom lectures through our computer, through our cell phones. And it is very easy nowadays for us to attend lectures this way. Kasi lan do haksip champan, lan do haksip na le panto si, lan do jinyong lai chamka lai pangbang. 为什么呢？就是有的人，伊就是一直问说，我求道的时，迄个三宝我都袂晓咯，袂记得咯，要怎啊？毋过，若无点转 CD 咧，若无咱的不定道咧，上下甲咱讲迄个三宝，所以这个点钟，咱就是着摕这个机会来参加。若有办道，有请单，咱就来。翕准咱就有法人问咱的点转时。而且，若别人咧求道的时，咱嘛就有法人伫边头听起一个三宝。这个三宝，因为三宝对咱也重要，咱一定要知影三宝。所以咱有法人参办，咱会得到也做，而且咱嘛会接一个功德。Number 4 is participation in Tao propagation. So many of us, we will say that when I received Tao, I was told the 3 treasures. I was given the 3 treasures, but after a while, I have forgotten them already. But let us remember that without our Tian Chansi and without the lighted holy lamp, no one will dare tell us about the 3 treasures. So this is the chance for us. When there are Tao propagation, when there are Tao initiation rites, we should attend, because there we can clearly listen again to the 3 treasures. And the 3 treasures are very, very important in our life. So when there are Tao propagation rites, we have to join and give our service. And also, we should also learn how to invite our friends, how to tell people about the goodness and the preciousness of Tao. And we have to bring our friends and relatives to receive Tao. So ilan na champan eh sila matyo suyaw tyo kang lan ne ka tiếng lang kang lan ne ka lan ne piang yu asi lan ne tang o lan ne chin jia gong quan yi to e ho chu gong quan yi to e tin quy ni cha ka bin lai put teng kiu to tit ho in tit tyo to. So next is about cultivation. So 落嚟咱就要講修道，咱要怎樣修道啊？所以學習這位是一個真簡單的幾項，咱有法人說咱咧修道，咱就怎樣做？第一，咱就尊重咱家己的言談舉止。So number 1 on cultivation, we should be dignified in our speech and manners. So 也重要的是，咱修一個修道人，咱就互別人看起說，這個人咧修道，伊變啊也好勢，人唔知要帶咱來修道。Because when we are dignified in our speech and manners, and by the time that we try to invite our friends and relatives to receive Tao, and they see us as a person who has changed into a better person, they will automatically they will automatically be willing to come with us to the temple and also to receive Tao. So, 咱就要怎樣做啊？咱就存好心，講好話，做好歹，發好願。咱有法人做跩代志，咱無，咱的心就是就愛幫助別人，袂說要害別人的心。咱就做好的，想好的，咱的心。咱做出來代志嘛是好的，咱講好話，像咱一句說，像咱去台灣的時，一句常常聽起的就是，咱若要找一個查某囡仔講話，咱大家叫伊美女美女， 你买物件咱嘛是叫美女，所以这个查某囡仔听起人叫伊美女，伊是毋是也欢喜啊？哦，因为就算说伊毋是也水，毋过伊嘛是迄啲，伊也是变做也欢喜，说原来我是一个水嘅查某啊。所以最好代志，咱若最好代志帮帮别人，还是替别人互别人方便，或者是最好代志。咱无需要说，咱着也侪钱去捐，去起大学堂，去起大医院，还是起大庙寺，才有说算说是最好代志。发好愿，咱就是着发好的愿。咱后摆则，咱而且咱发的愿，咱也是着正正的、真诚心的去给做出来，迄个才有说啥是咧发好愿。So, there are 4 things that can help us to be dignified in our speech and manners. One is to be kind. When we are kind, we have a good heart. We are willing to help people. Then people will see us as a good person. And then we may be respected. We can have their respect, and they will also look up to us and follow us whatever we want teach them to do. And also speak kind words. A kind word can brighten a person's day. It can make a person very happy. So, and also the next is to do good deeds. When doing good deeds, it doesn't need us to be, we do not need to be a rich person in order to do good deeds, to build school buildings, to build hospitals, to build temples. If we do not have money, we can also do good deeds. Just a smile speaks 1,000 words. When we just smile at a person, maybe that person was already feeling sad and low, and then we meet them and we smile at them. Then that can already brighten their day. That can help them to recover from their sadness. When we greet a person, even if we do not know them, even if they are not our relatives, we can also make that person very happy because they will feel respected and loved. So that is doing good deeds, and that we do not need to spend a single cent in order to do that. And next is to make good wishes. We have to make good wishes, and aside from making good wishes, we have to perform them and turn them into action. That with that, then we can say that we are already on our first step, putting our first step out to become a cultivator. So 落嚟就是着鬼毛病起脾氣。So the next is that we have to correct our mistakes and also to eliminate our ill temper. How do we correct our mistakes and eliminate our tempers? 那麼將鬼咱的毛病及起咱的脾氣，鬼毛病就是將咱歹嘅，咱就知影說，咱每一日咧做，什麼代志是拄好的，什麼代志是歹的，咱唔通一直去看別人的唔好，看別人唔對，迄個咱家己要怎樣進步啊？所以咱就看家己，唔通看別人的唔對。咱將咱家己的毛病改了，咱就是一個更較進步的人。咱若去改脾氣，就是唔通去一直要想要去改變別人。咱若看去別人做一項代志，咱無介意的，咱較常就會叫伊去改。迄個人若唔聽咱的喙呢，咱是毋是會也生氣啊？親像咱的囡仔，咱解說你做這項代志，唔通做迄項代志，毋過干那頭殼也短，伊無要聽你的話，迄陣咱是毋是會也生氣啊？所以咱會做咧換一個立場來想，咱會干那為什麼伊那規日按 computer 按電腦定定摕佇伊的面前啊？咱若真正去了解因，咱會知影說，原來這個囡仔咧上課咧讀冊，連因的功課攏總是着按電腦咧去教、去看、去做。咱若有法人安尼該了解，咱就會袂反生氣。咱有法人了解說，因為什麼咧做咱無愛的代志。咱若無一直去 要过别人，咱的脾气嘛是变较好，因为要过别人，就是咱感觉说咱是对的，咱才要去过别人，迄个就是一项咱着家己真注意的代志。On correcting our mistakes, we have to correct ourselves first. We should not always point our fingers at other people. Because remember, when we point our fingers at other people, only one finger is pointing at the fault of others, while the rest four are pointing at ourselves. So when people have mistakes, when we see that they are wrong, we can advise them and help them to change to become correct. But also we should look inward to ourselves. We should see at ourselves and see maybe we are telling others that they have done wrong, but in reality, we ourselves are also doing that. So we have to correct our mistakes, and then we have to eliminate our temper. Eliminating our temper means that we should not try always to change others in behalf of us. Because most of the time, we are very angry because we want to change others and they will not follow us. Why? Because they have their own reasons. Just like our children, sometimes we are very, very angry because they are always looking at their computers. They are always looking at their laptops and at their cell phones. So we are very angry that day in and day out, every minute, every hour, you are just looking at your computer. But if we will spend time and effort to understand why they are doing so, maybe we can understand them, because they do also have their own reasons. As it is, we may understand that students nowadays, their assignments, their lectures, their study materials are all sent to them through the computer, through the internet. So what happens if they do not open their computer? They will not pass their subject. If we can think that way, then we will not be angry anymore, and our temper will not come up, and we will not be so sad every day, and we will not have fights within our friends, within our friend circle, within our family circle, and within other people, even our workers. 所以咱即阵来看，志工老师怎样甲咱解释？志工老师讲，什么是过毛病起脾气？伊说包容别人的意见，甲咱无相的人，包容意见甲咱无相的人，咱就是咧起咱的脾气。咱无去改变别人，咱就是咧过咱的毛病。老师说，过毛病甲起脾气这项代志是咱家己才有法通做，别人无法通替咱做，无人有法通帮咱做这项代志。不过，咱若有真正会去做，真正决心要去过咱的脾气，甲过咱的毛病，甲起咱的脾气，一日当咱嘛是有法通看起成绩。So compassionate words from our teacher Chikong. What does it mean to correct mistakes and to get rid of our temper? It is to tolerate people who disagree with us. That is getting rid of our temper. Do not try to change others. Do not try to change the opinion of other people, the beliefs of other people. And by that, we are already correcting our faults. We have to do it for ourselves to correct our faults and to get rid of our temper, because no one else in this world can help us do it. And as long as we are willing to do it, and we do it sincerely and diligently, we will all get results in the end. So, 刷落来就是说，咱就去除咱的心中的贪嗔痴。咱的贪，逐项咱都爱滴，逐项咱都要。咱袂感觉满足，因为咱若贪，咱就是逐摆想说，也佫有物件欠，咱就佫去接，就佫去摕。咱若会生气，逐摆会看去别人的毋对，所以咱逐摆会说， 贪甲真就是互咱变做一个痴，就是会变做痴。So we have to get rid of our greed because when we are greedy, we do not feel contentment. Every time that we have something, we will think that we still need more of it. We still need a lot of it. So we will go out and try our best to possess all the things that we want in our life. And also we have to get rid also of our hatred because greed plus hatred will make us an ignorant person. So now we will share a story about Alexander the Great that because of his greed, what happens in his life. So now, dito na lehon yung sige, Alexander the Great故事，因為伊有貪，伊心中有貪，所以伊得到也做物件，唔過伊也個一直要去接，一直要去得到。所以這個故事是關於 Alexander the Great 嘅第三個希望。The story is about the 3 last wishes of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great 是一個真高嘅戰士，伊每一擺出去拍戰，伊都是贏，唔捌輸。所以伊每一擺出去，伊就是有法人得到也做物件，所以也做所在就變做是伊咧管嘅，變做是伊嘅咯。所以每一擺伊贏，伊就將迄金銀珠寶拖倒來，去刻咧，迄就是伊嘅咯。迄所在，迄人攏將繼續伊管咯。不過伊無滿足，伊特別佫去接佫較濟，所以到落尾，伊30歲迄陣已經得到也濟國家，攏繼續伊管，得到也濟金銀珠寶。不過到我伊30幾歲迄陣，忽然間，伊感覺說伊身軀咧無好勢咯。But because Alexander the Great was a great warrior, he will go to war, and every time he goes to war, he will win. So he has conquered a lot of lands and countries. And also every time that he wins, he will get all those precious stones and golds and silvers from the place that he has conquered and bring them to be, and those will become his own. So by the age of more than just 30, he was already a very rich and powerful man. So 30幾歲就是真好嘅，個真有權力嘅一個人。不過30幾歲陣，伊感覺說伊身體那可能袂好勢咯啊。所以因為伊有權，伊有錢，伊就去找第一好嘅醫生要來甲醫。So when he was only more than 30 years old, one day, he felt that he was not feeling very well. His body is deteriorating. So because he was so powerful and he was so rich during that time, he sent for all the best doctors to come to treat him so that he will be healthy again. So he kêu what the it ho isang like I muku I hobo bo I singku tidit pi tidit ko kalam tidit pi tidit ko kakamkak bo hose. But can the doctors treat him and make him well again? No. So after each treatment, he will feel that he is becoming weaker and weaker. So he knew by himself that he was about to die. So isang lai long kyong bo walang ho itikwan yo ho I walang ho kila. Ikay kita ya se kiam tsai utsidita bo la kuwa es kesin lo. So ijuk jong I lang I wai jong kun lo I wai te I sindi me lang kyo la I bin zui. Ibe huan hu I sahang mi kya. I said, "Wan na kesin, wai kwa cha, iting tiok to wai isang kangwa kya kilai, ni cha unto ki. Betu di eng padelang kangwa kya, iting tiok wai isang kangwa kya." So, because he was already feeling weak and he knew that he may not live long anymore, so he called on his generals and his trusted men and leave them with his 3 wishes. So number 1 wish, he said, "First, I want only my doctors to carry my coffin." So number 2, Teddy, he said, "Duai kwa cha, nabe unki guai bo tue si. Sige, 这条路要按怪我一准，我观察 要去啊到无对迄条路，就铺起满我宝库内面的金银甲宝石，将龙奖的宝石、龙奖的金拖出来，龙奖铺咧路咧，铺啊满到我的无对迄位所在。So number 2, he said, the road to the grave has to be covered with my gold, my silver, and all my precious stones. Get them all out and display them on the road. And it has to reach the place until my grave. So number 3, Tessa, he said, 我的棺材，恁就甲我创2个坑，按迄2个坑将我的手给摕出来。So number 3 wish is that my hands should be dangling out of my coffin. He said he instructed them to make 2 holes of his coffin so that his 2 hands can come out of the coffin when he is being carried to his grave. So iya lang, ino isi ina ong in 在死就聽伊話，唔過因感覺也奇怪。頭一擺聽起有人創這3個願望、異望。So because Alexander the Great was their king, they have to follow him. So, but still they are wondering why was he having all those weird wishes. So Alexander the Great explained to them. Itap kang Alexander the Great kain kaisak se, 我只是想要互世間的人明白說，我拄好才學到的3個教訓。I want the world to know the 3 lessons that I have just learned. 我的醫生問我的觀察，是要互龍獎的人知影說，醫生根本無可能來真正的醫咱的病，咱什麼病，醫生都無法能甲咱醫。咱若要死的時，因嘛無法能甲咱倒甲咱創活倒來，因無迄個力量，因安尼，伊希望說。人有法人會因為安尼才知影說，咱就真正會珍惜咱的生命。He explained that my first wish is that I made my first wish because I want my physicians to carry my coffin, because I want people to realize that no doctor, no matter how good or how popular they are, no doctor can cure anybody. They are also very helpless in front of death. No matter how popular or how well-studied a doctor is, when it is time for us to die, we will die. So we have to learn to love our life. Teddy, sibe kang langkong kang dinbin kong se, lan tang chin chiu gua ani itit bekit tui kiu kim chi. Inui gua 因我一世人的點鐘去追求咱的我犯罪財富，不過我一陣才知影說，我根本就是咧浪費我的點鐘。Number 2, I spent all my life to earning riches but cannot take anything with me. Let people know that the wealth is nothing but dust, because by the time we die, by the time that we are dying, we will realize that the time that we spend looking and running after all this wealth, we are just spending or just wasting our time doing so. Tessa ibong sila hibong linbin bing piakse. Wa kang chiu lai kao jige sekan. Wa jitun wa si wa ma si kang chiu di kui jige sekai. Wa bo hua lang tua jiu seng si diap sui diap bo jiu wa ma bo hua lang tua ki. Thirdly, I wish all to know that I come empty-handed into this world, and I will go also empty-handed. Not even the smallest stone in my treasure can I bring along with me when I die. So, 這個故事就是說，咱若真正貪，咱會一直去接咱愛啲嘅物件。不過，親像 Alexander the Great。伊才知影說，路尾伊才知影說，伊根本就是咧折脫伊的點鐘，去接觸龍獎的物件、龍獎的金錢，到尾還有法人用無？根本無路用。所以咱雖然說咱嘛是着去做工，咱嘛是着去賺錢，互咱的家庭有錢人用，互咱有法人買咱需要的物件。 Mkulan mang se itibekit ko kat bitit yo ko katsue lang uwe lan nasi u. Nan uwa lang siyang wa ukaw. Nan ukaw iyang ju ho tu holo lan to cinca kam unlo. So Alexander the Great tells us that we should not be greedy because every time that our greed comes out, it will bring us to go look for even more things than we already have. Of course, we are not saying that we should not go to work anymore. We should not earn money anymore. We should also go to work. We should earn money for our family. We show that so that we can have money to buy food and to buy the things that we need. But do not be greedy. When we already have enough, we should be grateful that we already have what we need, and we should forget all that we want, because those things that we want are not the important things in our life. So like the third on cultivation is that we have to build our meritorious deeds. Kyan kong diptiak kap gấp lên quan chỉ gấp lên khi xuất chỉ khi bằng cho khi biểu hay khi trong kia trong hồ bà lăng hồ công chúng hoa lăng em em kia thì cái không phải cho chơi lấy kiên công việc thì cái是nào lấy kiên lên để học việc伊個頭人帶來國較做嘅福氣，毋過迄個毋是叫做咧修道，因為咱若做好歹，咱當時也是着去修道，咱着在將咱修嘅學力氣，而且做出來，迄個做安尼做出來，咱才是有算冊是咧建功立德。So when we are doing meritorious deeds, it doesn't mean that we just need to contribute money. If we are rich, we will contribute a lot of money. Then we may think that we have already done a lot of good deed, and we may have collected a lot of meritorious deeds. We should remember that contribution, monetary contribution, is different from meritorious deeds. When we contribute, we spend money. If we are rich, we can spend a lot of money, contribute them, donate them to build temples, to build hospitals. But in return, we will be repaid only with good fortune. But if we do the good deeds, we contribute, we donate, and we do it together simultaneously with our cultivation. And what we have learned from our cultivation, we can keep them in mind, understand them, and turn them into action. Then that is the time that say we are already cultivating and that we are already collecting meritorious deeds. Because just by talking, example, when you are a lecturer, you talk every day, you give speeches every day, you give lessons every day, but you do not do what you are talking about, then we do not have any meritorious deeds to collect. We do not have any merits. But instead, what we talk about, what we have learned from our cultivation, we have to keep them in mind, understand them truly, and then turn them into action. Do out what we have learned. Then that is can be converted into good merits. So as a recap, we can now so ilan chỉ có lại học習sẽ lan xiêm mi lan biết chưa lại học siêu to sẽ học to si anh lan học習trong hồ lan có khá xiềng trong có khá chính chính. Learn how to learn and cultivate Tao. Learning Tao makes a person more sophisticated and more mature. And siêu to si tiểu lan là biết siêu to lan tiểu su yao tiểu chính khắc bản hoạt lại hồ lan học習lại hồ lan tê ý khít chơi, lan cho hoa lang sẽ lan sĩ lệ hồ chính khắc lệ siêu to. Cultivation needs a correct pattern for us to follow as guidelines so that we can cultivate properly. So lan biết chưa học to siêu to lan cho tham gia tổ gi, hốt quy lệ chat lan cho tham gia khai ban các học習tham ban. How to learn and cultivate Tao? In learning Tao, we have to have further understanding of Tao. We have to learn the Buddha rules and disciplines. We have to attend lectures and participate in Tao propagation. And then on cultivation, 咱修道，咱就是尊重咱家己的严言启旨，咱就过咱的脾气，起咱的毛病，咱就去除咱心中的贪嗔痴，咱就建功立德，咱就有我人说，咱已經咧開始修道咯。So on cultivation, we should dignify our speech and manners. We should correct our ill temper and mistake. We should get rid of our greed, hatred, and ignorance. And we should also build our meritorious deeds. We should do good deeds and to collect merits. So, kinaam, hiểu học就學習到一位，那有講唔對的所在，請善佛社做請點傳師原諒及補充，多謝各位。
咱感恩的善善助理哦，咱这来邀请咱的蔡点传师本人做一个补充。Let us invite our 点传师 for the supplementary. 请点传师准备，请善善。
主点传师、点传师，各位道亲，大家好暗暝。
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our 周点传师 and also to our 田点传师. To everyone, good evening.
那么，咱今仔日来真正欢喜哦，听咱宣助理的对顶礼拜日咱伫个Bacolod开发会所讲的个专题，今日甲各位道亲分享。
So tonight we are very happy that we are able to listen to the one of the topic that we have discussed when the Bacolod Temple had our Fahui or our holy seminar last November 6th, last Sunday.
那这篇道理内面呢，有较印象较深的要甲各位道亲分享的呢，就是内面呢个迄两个现象。
So from this from the topic that we had tonight, the one thing that is very that I have deep impression of is about the story of the two monks.
这两个现象，一个现象呢，伊就是逐工戆戆对山顶落来，山骹溪边安尼，一年365天拢无改变，就是安尼乖乖落来下骹担水，有法度担去山顶的庙寺内面有水通用。
So one of those monks, he was very diligent that 365 days a year, every day he will come down the hill to get water from the creek so that everybody in the temple can have water to use.
另外一个现象呢，伊就会晓挂伊哦，每一工可能无偌久的时间啦，大家来压一个，压无偌久咧，人有一个果子通好出来抢水咯，无需要逐工都做咧狂工对山顶落来山骹担水。
So the second monk, he also was very diligent in getting water every day, but every day aside from his work, he was able to dig a well little by little, that in the end he was able to come up with a well that gives him water, and he doesn't need anymore to come down the hill just to bring water up to the temple for them to use.
这个故事，反正前面看来启示的。
So what is the story reminding us about?
那么咱今仔讲，咱已经求道啊啦，咱来开始听道理啊，咱要学道了啦。
So as a cultivator, we may say that we are already joining in listening to the lectures, and we are already trying to start to learn about Tao.
咱有想看卖无？咱一天24小时内面有偌侪时间是上天老母娘的？
什么讲是24小时
？24小时内面有偌侪点钟是奉献了上天老母娘的，奉献了咱良心的。
So let us think about our daily life. In the 24 hours that we have in a day, let us think how many hours or how many minutes have we been giving to our Heavenly Mother.
咱想看卖，咱一天24小时内面8点钟困去啊啦。
So in 24 hours, for the 8 hours of that, we are sleeping.
8點鐘做工開店，有的人拿啦，有的人可能10幾點鐘啦，
So,
啊，
another,
點
so,
啦，做工用掉咯。
so another 8 to 10 hours, some even 12 hours, they spend those times working or doing business.
其他伊8點鐘內面都咱用偌濟時間，My God！
So for the time that is left of our sleep and our work, how many hours is left for us?
偌濟點鐘give to my God。
So how many hours are we able to give to our God?
那麼有一個笑話啦，
So there is a joke that goes
笑
like
話，我
this.
即馬講一個笑話。
So our Chansu will share with us a joke.
迄個要去天頂的迄個基督教的一世要去天頂的時陣到天堂的門是聖彼得。
So in the door of in heaven, when you are a Catholic, the one that what is at the door when we go up, it's Saint Peter that will meet us.
聖彼得到迄個要入去 heaven 迄個門。那麼OK，你說。
Saint Peter is the one who is watching at the door of heaven.
要入去迄個天堂迄個門是聖彼得迄個。那麼有一里頭有一個牧師，過身啊，伊的靈魂就安尼飛啊到即個 heaven，拄到聖彼得啦。
So one day a pastor passed away, and his spirit flew up and up to heaven, and he met Saint Peter at the door of heaven.
那麼即個巴士道看到聖彼得想講我一世人攏喺我嚟攏喺迄個教堂咧做牧師啊我即擺當年時真正有條件通好入去天堂內底，所以安尼真正大方安尼甲即個聖彼得拍一個招呼，就會入去個天堂內底。
So the pastor, when he saw Saint Peter, he thought that he was thinking that when I was alive, I have been lecturing in working in the church every day of our life. So I must be very, very qualified to go up to heaven. So he just looked at Saint Peter and nodded at him, and then he was trying to go into heaven by himself.
那會知影這聖彼得甲動起來，甲動着要你袂做你去嘅。
But surprisingly, Saint Peter blocked his way and did not allow him to go in.
伊就問伊敢若是我袂做你去啊？
So the pastor was wondering, and he asked Saint Peter, why is it that I cannot go inside heaven?
即個聖彼得就甲即個牧師說啊，哎呦，你都唔知影，你每一擺來迄個神夢的時陣下骹的人一個攏在拄久，下骹聽伊歌，信徒一個拄久。
So Saint Peter tried to explain the reason, and he told the pastor that, do you know that every time when you are doing your sermon, all the people in your church are all sleeping.
當然你安尼道理會感覺你的神夢的時陣就講甲大家聽甲會去想到上天老母娘的時陣你才好做人入去天堂內底。
And Saint Peter told him that for you to be qualified to come through the door of heaven is that when you are having sermons, you have to give out sermons that can encourage people up to the point that they will think about our God in heaven. That is the time that you will be allowed to go in.
即個牧師想想，有影我逐擺迄神夢的時陣，下骹啦攏會拄久啦，安尼我實在是愛檢討，我轉來下骹佫繼續練習，等我較進步的時陣，我轉來肯定。
So Saint Peter, so the pastor recalled about what he has done, and he agreed with Saint Peter. He said, it's right that every time when I'm having sermon, people are all sleeping. So maybe I have to go back and to try to change myself and to improve myself.
這牧師佫袂歹，家己要檢討，要反省。
So it was good that the pastor knows how to self-reflect and to know his mistakes.
知影过无偌久哦，佫一个人哦，拄拄过身，也是要，是伊的灵魂也是飘到即个天堂来遮，迄个来到即个圣彼得遮咧报道。
So next, another person also just died, and his spirit again fly up to the heaven, and he was already also reporting to Saint Peter.
那么即个人吼，即个牧师捌伊嘅，伊是因迄个所在一个车头，一个迄个计程车的司机 ，taxi driver。
So when the pastor see that the person that comes next after him, he know that person. He recognize him as a taxi driver in their place.
你想讲哦，即个 taxi driver 定嘛，互人 complain 讲即个人开车咧，凊彩龙、乌白龙拢无照条规来，大家坐个车拢都在踹等，应该即个人袂当入去天堂。
So the pastor thought that this taxi driver, since I know him, I know that he is a very reckless driver. And every time when people ride on his taxi, people will always be very fearful, and they all complain about his skill in driving.
所以咁样边等啊，等下即个人啊，过去哦，圣彼得哦，动着无要互你去的时候，阮两个做看过倒来。
So he was waiting for Saint Peter to again block the taxi driver, because he was so sure that that taxi driver will also not be allowed to go in. So he was thinking that if he also is not allowed to go in, then we will go back to earth together.
咱会知影哦，即个 taxi driver 行到迄个圣彼得遐来，甲圣彼得讲几无偌久话的时阵，圣彼得才有力气无？
But the pastor was surprised that after a short talk, the taxi driver was talking with Saint Peter, and after a little while, Saint Peter allowed that taxi driver to go in through the door of heaven.
哦，即个 pastor 都也生气哦。即个圣彼得那尼无公道，即个人开车到安尼，会当入去天堂。我讲道理讲安尼拍拼，我什么遐尼拍拼，什么服务，什么教堂服务安尼拍拼，伊无法你去。
So the pastor was thinking that Saint Peter was really very unfair, because he was a reckless driver. And while I was somebody who has served the church for a very long time, and I was making sermons every day, so why is it that he was allowed to go in and I am not?
哦，伊就足生气了，就行过来问圣彼得，讲你啊你无公平啦，无法你去吼，即个吼乌白开车的 taxi driver 你去。
So he went to Saint Peter and complained that you are so unfair. You let that driver go in and you do not allow me to go in.
即个圣彼得就笑来讲，哦，这是一个joke啦，尔，各位同仁注意听，这是一个joke啦，尔吼。
So this is let us be reminded that this is already a joke. That by that time, Saint Peter just smiled at the pastor.
圣彼得就甲伊说，是啊，伊开车的时阵哦，乱七八糟开啊，乌白开，无照条开，所以每一摆哦，什么人若坐到伊的车，就一直说 ，Oh my God, Oh my God。
So Saint Peter explained that yes, he was a reckless driver, but every time when he drives, he was able to make people remember God, because every time people ride on his taxi, they will always say, "Oh my God, Oh my God."
哦，伊虽然乌白开车，不过伊互每一个人咧，就马上就受到上帝。
That even though that he was so reckless, but he was able to let everybody who rode on his car to remember about God.
这个是一个 joke， 一个开玩笑的话。
So it was just a joke.
那么咱今仔日对这个 joke 咧，咱们要有一个有一个家己要有一个迄个认知啦，有一个了解。
So
听到这个笑话，咱们要有一个了解。
So after listening to this joke, we should have some realizations.
咱咧听道理的时阵，咱有想到上天老母娘无？
That every time when we are listening to lectures, are we also thinking about our Mother in Heaven?
还是讲 到出面听入去，正手边出来就搁袂记的。
Or are we just listening through our right ear and let those lecture get out from our left ear, and then later on we forget everything about the lecture?
啊，是咱听过以后咧，有甲咱每一工24小时内底换出可能1点钟，可能半点钟，啊，可能偌济时间无三层的迄个portion，来做一寡上天老母娘的代志。
Or after listening to lectures, had we thought of the lecture and tried to use even just 30 minutes or 15 minutes of our time every day to put what we have learned into action?
但是拄啊，这篇道理内面迄个结论啦，咱就爱学礼节啦，爱学道理啦，爱学服务啦，学做代志啦，学行功了愿，行功立德啦。咱讲一寡的迄个大纲，咱有安尼去用这寡时间去做这寡代志无？
So as what we have learned from the lecture, that we have to know about the truth, that we have to know the Buddha rules and regulations, and even the offering ceremonies, and we have to do meritorious deeds. Have we spent just a little time every day to do all those things?
咱若有的时阵每一工有换一个固定的时间，把这时间交予上天老母娘。那么，咱这个人生如戏咧，咱这个戏咧，咱就对迄个修道人的迄个戏，斗到半，包括有一天咧，咱就变做一个修道人，最后咧就变做仙妇。
So if we can set aside even just a little time every day for our Mother in Heaven, and if we can play our role as a cultivator every day, then we can learn a lot and have a lot of merits when we see our Mother in Heaven.
以上所说，就是向我今仔日对这篇内面所得到一寡心得嘅感受，用来甲各位道亲做一个分享。
So what our Tian Chuan-Se has discussed with us was what she has noted from our lecture a while ago, and she was sharing with us, with every one of us.
听的人讲的人真敖讲，大家听的人真敖听，做的人真敖做。
So there's no need to have a good lecturer, but we need to have a good listener, and we need to have somebody who can put what they have listened into action.
对，这上要紧。
That is the most important part.
叫我今仔日就简单做一个结论，讲了小超过点钟祝各位道亲大家健康、幸福、快乐。
So that was our conclusion about our lecture tonight, and we have gone a little past our time, and our Tian Chuan-Se wants to wish every one of us with good health, good fortune, and happiness.
甲叫我共款，听到这款的道理发起充满。
That our Tian Chuan-Se wishes everyone that just like them, we will have a joy in our heart when we are listening to lectures.
各位道亲大家晚安。
Good night, everyone.